Welcome to the T3 podcast, Transformation Talks with Tara. Here is your host, Tara Duke.
Thank you for joining T3 Transformation Talks with Tara. Today we are joined by Caroline Yap, who is one of my very good friends and a former colleague. And she was also a former managing director of AI business at Google. Most of all, she is the AI queen extraordinaire. Caroline, welcome to our podcast. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me, Tara. For those of you who don't know, I was born and raised in Malaysia. I am Malay, Chinese, Indian, and Portuguese. And I also lived in the UK. I saw a post this morning from Ali Miller and also Cassie Kosaroff. I believe they are the only two women who have been teaching AI on all 7 continents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've only done it in 5. So I've got 2 more continents to go to catch up to those 2. So I have goals.
I like it. Always good to have goals.
And by the way, this year is my 30th year in tech.
Wow.
I know.
It's been a while. We've been around for a minute now, haven't we?
We've been around for a minute. We've seen quite a few changes. But I think it's we're really lucky, right? This far into our careers, there's still so much to do. Mm-hmm. And I love that you're still so focused on transformations because guess what? People process first, right? Technology is just the other thing.
It's true. So to that point, today we're going to talk a bit about AI, how it's kind of transformed the technology industry and how organizations have used it, right, to transform their own organizations. So for those that are uninitiated, which I don't understand how you could be in today's world, just in case, tell us, brass tacks, what is AI and why should we care?
I like to make it really simple. Anyone who's been using Google Search, Gmail, Google Maps, you're already using AI. It's predictive AI. Yeah. What I think has sparked everyone's imagination is the generative AI piece, right? So when ChatGPT came out, it captured the world's imagination. It was an interactive super chatbot.
Yeah. And
it felt like it knew you. It doesn't know anything about you, right?
What?
It doesn't know nothing about you.
I think my feelings are hurt now.
Girl, that was the thing, right? It was the same thing when social media, started to come out. People could see their friends' feeds on Facebook, and everyone used to go in and can keep reading all of the streams, right? And then when they added the swipe, you felt like you had read all the streams from all the people you were friends with.
Yes.
So there was a hit, right? There was a reward system and a hit. And so the thing with ChatGPT is it captured the world's imagination because you could ask it all kinds of questions and it would seemingly provide an answer. Whether it was accurate or not, in the early days, there were lots of debate. But,
yes.
But the point was, it was now accessible in a different modality.
Right.
People who were using Google Maps, they forgot that it was AI.
Right.
They forgot that it was AI.
Yeah, 20 years ago, right? There was AI involved in every single technology implementation, right? And It is literally just the use cases that have changed, how we're able to use it, who it's able to reach, and why differently, right? Differently.
I think also now AI is being so conflated, right? There's.
Hey, at least you said it, not me.
I'm gonna take that one. Anybody wants to have a fist fight with me? Let's go. So, because the last couple of years when I was at Google, I met about 1,600 different boards and C-suites all over the world, right? Wow. Including government and public policymakers, even folks from consortiums like the International Fertilizer Association, etc. Right? Nice. And what was interesting was some people assume that with GenAI, they could throw out data discipline. They could throw out analytics, automation, and ML. And no, you can't, right? And so AI requires a baseline and a foundational setup and understanding of all of those things in order for you to really get value out of AI.
Just right? Like anything else, crap in, crap out, right?
Bingo. It's even the predictive AI pieces, right? Yeah. So if we were to go to Google Maps, if you have used Google Maps, whether you sign in or not, it has a history, right, of where you go. It can then give you recommendations because it will sit there, and with the generative aspect now, if you sign in, you can say, oh, that I'm going to go to this place at this time on this day. Give me other recommendations I want around there, right? So there are some things that will be generative and some things that are still going to stay predictive. Why do
you think, sorry to interrupt, but why do you think that, saying all of that, why is it so intensely spread right now? Why is AI all the things right this second?
Because of how people feel about it.
Oh.
It's literally because of how people feel about it. Yesterday, I was at a Women in GenAI event that was held in Silicon Valley. So Sandy was on a panel, and Sandy Carter, she used to work also at Amazon. She has also been talking to a lot of small business associations, and I was shocked at some of the statistics she provided. And so here's one of the things I'm going to quote, and that she said that there are so many SBAs who are not aware or fully aware of AI. There are 30 small million businesses. 2 million of them might use some form of ERP. And there was another number that I missed, but what she said was 10 million of them use spreadsheets to run their businesses. 15 million you don't use hardly any technology except for a cash register or whatever. But one of the things that struck me was who runs and who owns most of these small businesses? Women.
They do say we're very good at that sort of thing.
Correct. But now you sit there and you go, holy moly. So there is this whole swath of people that are not in our echo chamber.
Right.
Who are not even aware, outside of using it for themselves in Gmail, searching Google Maps or Hotmail or whatever. They don't even realize that they should be thinking about creating an AI agent just to help them with their inventory or their billing.
Those numbers you're talking about, those were just small businesses, right?
That was just small businesses.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And so it was very eye-opening because for me, I had such a global role. I saw a lot of these things in, say, the global South, right, and the opportunities in global South and minority communities, etc. But so it was quite humbling and quite educational for me to listen to Sandy with some of these, data points. And so it was just to me like, how do we reach those communities? Also knowing that a lot of SBAs are also from people of color, right? And so how do we do that? Whether it's male or female, right? There seems to be a gap. And so,
I think, one of the things I find too, right? So doing enterprise transformation, I love technology because it enables us to automate and move forward in different areas while I'm focusing somewhere else. Technology is taking care of things, right? My technology is even talking to my customers. It's keeping my customers happy, right? Sending them personalized things like you were talking about, et cetera, et cetera. And so we've got to find a way for these smaller businesses that have literally everything. I'm the COO, I'm the CEO, I'm the CFO, right? I'm doing all the things. How do I use technology to take a huge swath of this work away so that I can focus on the higher value activities?
Yeah, for example, if you're a florist, you're really good at the design and knowing which flowers and knowing the occasions and doing the actual decorations. Let an AI agent help you with, when do these flowers arrive? Will it be on time? Do I need to have a backup plan? How do I then automate the communication with the suppliers and the distributors? How do I automate the communication with my staff who are supposed to be doing deliveries? Those things get really interesting. I'm still not a fan of the fact that they're called AI agents because I come from a security background. So that still makes my neck twitch a little bit. That there is an AI agent running around loose somewhere. But agentic workflows make sense. I mean, look at RPA. Do you remember when RPA came out?
Oh, yay, RPA. We all love RPA. Robotic process automation, by the way, guys.
Which is exactly what these AI agents are.
Yes. I'm telling you, they just redress the same things for different stuff over and over. I find it entertaining.
But on steroids. and now powered by these large language models, which then leads me back to these models don't know your business, these models don't know who you are. So how do you take a model that is stochastic, which is probabilistic in nature, to something that's more deterministic, which means how do you infuse your business, what you know to be good data of your core?
I mean, so what makes up a large language model?
Generally speaking, like for example, ChatGPT and Gemini are general large language models, foundational models, we like to refer to them from a tech nerd perspective. They are like a massive library. There are now models that are specific to different industries. So, like for example, Google has MedLM, and so by the way, because I am ex-Google, I might throw out more Google things. It doesn't mean that there's no others. Okay, it just happens to be the ones that I know most about. So please forgive me, listeners.
Hey, and at least we know though that these are things that are actually being used, right? So it's helpful to hear actual experience. So perfect.
Yeah, and so for example, like MedLM is specific for the medical space, right? Then you also have other. Okay, Falcon, for example, is a model that's specific to Arabic and Arabic culture, right? So you have models that, I mean, Llama. Look at Meta's Llama, right? Meta's Llama is specific. It's very good at actually suggesting emojis and things like that, you know, because of the data set that it's been trained on. So you have a lot of these generalized models, and the point with large language models is it understands human communication, right? It understands human communication, so it can capture your question and then try to build and create relationships with a bunch of the things that it knows, to then provide you with an answer. Where you end up having real power in something like that is when you can also connect it, and we call it grounding and embedding with your data. So you can ask a question, it understands your question, and it can pull the responses from your data set to give you something that's very specific to you. So it's not just going to sit out there and go, well, I don't know, I'm just going to tell you this answer, right? It can go, well, guess what? Based on your business earnings last year, or based on your business earnings last week, you will need 5 more jobs of X and 3 more small jobs, right?
Fantastic.
It gets really cool. And so if we go back to the whole thing with the florist, these are the flowers that are in season. However, because the agentic behavior, right, agents to agents kind of is becoming a norm. Your ordering system and your booking system is now connected, and it will be able to tell you, oh my goodness, you have a booking for, you know, a bird of paradise flower, my favorite, by the way. Anyone who's listening, my favorite bird of paradise. And so
I like lilac orchids, in case anybody wants.
In case anybody wants to send us anything, right?
Anything, it's fine.
But the bird of paradise is very specific. It's a flower that's you see it everywhere in California, which is great. So I love it when I go to California. I can see them. But if you're a florist and someone's having a winter wedding, that is, the flower has beautiful colors, but holy crap, how are you going to do that? And so the system, if you have trained it right, should be able to go, here are the 5 suppliers you have bought bird of paradise, the bird of paradise from. This is their current pricing. If all of this was interconnected, it'd be so easy for you to be able to say, order, it will be delivered on this date. I know that I can get it to, the party, the couple, or whatever it is, and it'd be nice and quick, right? And so,
or I guess, one of the ones I think about a lot, right, is when we think about small businesses that have products that can go bad, right, that will die, right, is being able to say, hey, you've got a whole lot of X still available, this pretty little flower here, you've got about a week and a half before they start dying off. I've drafted this marketing piece, and here is the list I might recommend you send it to, right, to have people come in and get those sort of things. I think, again, to your point, it has to be connected to your different systems, but holistically, then it's able to pull from that and give you recommendations based on what's actually there. I think, one of the things I often work with people on is understanding that, AI is not just for tech people, right? It's about enabling the experience of both your customers and your employees.
Yeah, right now, I think with the hype and the buzz, one of my least favorite thing that people say and it doesn't matter who says it, is now all you need is, English is all you need to code, or English is all you need to make new images and videos, or it drives me mad.
What? English doesn't rule the world? What are you talking about?
So I feel that it is just a continuation of like tech colonialism.
Ooh.
And that might not be the right word, but there is this inclination of tone deafness, in my opinion, when someone comes out and says that English is all you need. Some of the best artists in Latin America, they can't use words in English to manipulate the images the way that they know how, because they know how to do it in their language.
Right.
And
right.
so and by the way, it's not just in Latin America. This is as a whole. The other thing is, I've been working with the Dan Ting, who heads up all of the AI programs and things for Singapore Health. And we've been trying to get find a way to get traditional Chinese medicine models. We're talking thousands and thousands of years of acupuncture, acupressure, herbology, healing, right? That has done so well for that whole part of the world into a almost English-ish, so that you can combine it. Because if you watch sports, anyone who watches sports, whether it's MMA, or whatever, you will notice sometimes players have cupping marks, or somebody's doing, sideline acupuncture, acupressure. So there's already this combination of Eastern and Western medicine.
Right.
So we were trying to figure out, how can you get this library, this TCM model, which has so much really good information, accessible by Western doctors. And we found that by trying to translate the Mandarin and the Chinese model to English, it lost a lot of content.
Right.
So now we're trying to...
a lot of languages are a lot more rich than English, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so how do you figure out, what's the best way? And I think we're at the point where we might need to have agent to agent communication, because that way they can just communicate in machine language to then give what the output should be.
Right.
Either that, or we just need more humans in the loop. In this case, a lot of TCM doctors who are bilingual to be able to add some of that richness back, because it's impossible otherwise. And so
you're finite as humans, right? Like, so agent to agent in that case would be a whole lot better than what we could individually do. So
and we're already seeing that where some of these AI agents are better at being able to identify shadows in the images than radiographers. But radiographers still certify the images. So for example, an AI agent might pick up a shadow for breast cancer detection in those images. So there's a lot of companies now who are realizing, oh my goodness, if I actually feed this through a vision AI model, it can actually see things better than I can. Because of some of these legal frameworks and the liabilities and where that sits, I think that AGI as a whole, like a copy of Tara and a copy of Caroline, we're not going to get there, but there could be more narrow AGI. Narrow meaning AGI in a particular area like finance, or sub area of finance, or AGI in a specific area of healthcare, whether it's helping a radiographer identify shadows for breast cancer, other types of oncology, for ophthalmology, for example, right? I don't believe that with the laws of physics today, with networking issues, chip issues, quantum at some point, I don't think there's enough power and water to be able to make one of us.
Yeah, that's fair. And for the listeners, AGI, what does it stand for?
Artificial General Intelligence.
There we go. All right.
We're not talking ASI, which is super intelligence, which surpasses humans. Okay, we're just talking about AGI.
Awesome. Okay, now before I lose you, I do have one more question, because we have to get into the super fun parts for me, which include competition in the space. Oh, yes. So, we've had OpenAI and different other groups working together or not so much together in the United States, but China has come on the board really hard with DeepSeek and others that they say are cheaper and faster to get going. What do you think the US's response is going to be to that? How do you think that's going to change the landscape of AI overall? What's going on here?
Well, I'm going to become extremely unpopular with my perspective on this one. And I live in America, which means I'm probably going to get mugged or something. I don't know.
You're just going to think about you as being an international AI lead.
I think this is the opportunity for the global South to potentially surpass the global North.
Ooh, tell me more.
I said this last year and I'm sticking to it. And as long as the digital divide can be deleted in a way, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for the African continent, right? So everything from MENA down, right? So the Middle East, North Africa, all the way down, Latin America down, and the whole of like Asia and Southeast Asia specifically. And so I also want to pause because I'm pretty sure Bloomberg posted very publicly in 2023, after ChatGPT and all that came out, that they were able to create an LLM of their own for $500, right? Which everyone's forgotten because the whole thing with DeepSeek, everybody's like, oh my goodness. And what happened to the markets that day? GE's Vernova stock went down, right? All of these
not a good day.
Big infrastructure, power generating stocks all dropped.
Yeah.
But everyone seems to forget, just because there is now going to be optimization and commoditization to make more models, there'll be more models because there are very specific industry toolkits and things like that that won't be in all of these largest models.
But what do you say to those people that, with the whole TikTok situation and things like that, right? Security, those sort of things. So if US companies start using models generated or created by China instead of the US, what does that do for security? And I love this conversation so much because we can go all types of different rabbit holes and get into some end times thing if we want to do that. Let's probably avoid that. But like, what do we think about, security and things like that? Because that's always the first thing US companies want to bring up.
I actually think that it's going to allow more open source models to come out.
Sure.
Right. I mean, if we look back at Linux, right, and Unix and how that grew, the difference is with Linux, Linus Torvalds was the steward of it, right? And so he had very specific standards with what he believed needed to still be part of, no matter which distribution of Linux you tried to build, he was still stewarding a lot of those standards. AI is a little bit not a free-for-all, but you have the companies who are making these models who are the leaders, quote unquote, but you are going to have new entrants because you can't expect a US company to dictate what a Chinese model should look like, what an Indian model should look like, or what an Arabic model should look like.
Absolutely.
Nor should you, right? Nor should you. So the technology layers, the papers, the transformer models, this, that, and all of those things that will help this kind of advancement should be shared so that the world's richness and culture and nuances can be captured in other models. And long term, why I say that everybody shouldn't think that just because there's another faster model that there's not a need. I actually think that the combination, this whole mixture of experts models, right, the multimodality pieces, that's where we're going to go, right? We're going to end up having the way to chain multiple models so that you can capture the world's richness. The human brain is able to process all of those things, but you can't with systems unless you chain all of those things. If you want to say that you're trying to build the one model to rule them all, it's kind of crazy.
I'm going to say this though, while It's lovely to think about the universe acting as one and joining together and sharing all of the information. Is it safe to say that, let's say, at least in the near future, there's probably still going to be a lot of disparity, distrust, right? Security concerns, things like that.
That's why I think the open source models are going to do better, because if you get an open source model, you can run it on-prem or in an offline disconnected mode.
Ooh, good.
Right? That's the thing.
So in a secure space that you can play with it while not worrying about your data leaving and going somewhere else.
Correct. A lot of the government agencies and things, they're using a lot of these models in an offline disconnected mode, because it shouldn't. Their questions, if it's grounded and embedded in their data sources, shouldn't need to go out to the internet to go and ask and look for data, right? So if they can have a natural language understanding vehicle, which is what a large language model is, running in that secure environment, that's what it's for. I actually think that we went from servers to virtualization, right?
Yeah.
And then virtualization to cloud.
Yes.
Well, virtualization was already with data center outsourcing, right? All of that. So then the whole cloud thing, I feel like we're all now going to come back towards some cloud, some just on my own stuff because of this AI thing I'm trying to do. So I feel as if the whole thing went from distributed to centralized, is now going back to being distributed again.
Well, if you think about the external, right? We started with the customers and employees. If you think about that as the edge of the non-tech side, right? Edge of the business, it's multi-channel, right? Multi-capability. So why wouldn't it be the same way on the back end in order to supply the needs that the people need?
And that's what customers are anyway.
What is a final thought you want to leave with our listeners today?
There's so many free training courses out there for you to know what AI is today. It doesn't have to be technical. It doesn't have to be deep. But take advantage of those things and go and learn. For those of you who are more in the business, really savvy but techy and want to get more information, there is a chap I follow also on Substack. His name is Chamath, Chamath. I love his deep dives. It's worth it if you can subscribe to his Substack. So if you want to do that, like, absolutely go do that. And by the way, for those of you who are also listening, small businesses, there's plenty of people who want to advise you and help you. And so let's make sure that you are using some of these technologies to make your lives easier, so that you can build wealth for the next generation in your small businesses to take over.
That is amazing advice. Thank you again, Caroline. You have been amazing. I appreciate you coming to T3 Transformation Talks with Tara. Guys, subscribe and please follow Caroline on all the things. She is a wealth of knowledge. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.